Okay, thank you so much everyone for joining today to the Connected Member Summit. I wish I had my camera on today, but technical difficulties sometimes happen. So, well, you got my photo on the next screen here. But I'm Daniel Karlsson. I'm responsible for the clubs industry here at Salesforce. We know that these are really challenging times for the clubs, and Salesforce have invested years in the club industry, improving and transforming the club experience. We are here today to bring you a session on how things are changing day to day and how to build trust and improve the member experience moving forward. We have an incredible lineup today. We have Luke Simmons, CEO of Nords Group, who are managing some leading clubs in the northern part of Sydney and a key partner of Salesforce. We have Pauline Pangan. She's co-founder of AF Digital, a leading consulting partner of Salesforce in APAC in Australia. And we have Martin Andrew. He's managing the solution engineering team here at Salesforce. Thank you so much for joining today.
Thank you.
To all the attendees. Excuse me?
Thank you.
No, thank you. A bit of an echo there. And to all the attendees, thank you so much. We can see the tallies keep on rising here, and yeah, I think it's going to be a pretty good outcome here. I know you're all working from home. You may have families and pets and kids sort of around you, so really thank you for joining. We started 12:15, so hopefully you have your lunch ready and can listen in for the next 45 minutes or so. We are in an unprecedented crisis right now. Since February, it's a public health crisis, an economic crisis, but also a business crisis. And one of the hardest hit industries are the clubs. Offices are closed and schools are almost empty. However, this is an incredible opportunity to build trust and empathy within the community. It is a time of reflection, and we are here to support you and get through this together. And restrictions are already easing. Friday last week, we could visit friends and families outside of our household. Now, the COVID crisis has really forced companies to transform, but it's an opportunity to analyze how your club is operating. Currently, we are in the first stage here to really stabilize the organization. And that's all about looking after our employees. The health and the safety of the employees is key here. And also the financial stability and the operational decisions that needs to be done. And then when we go back to work, which hopefully is not too far away, we will need to enable remote work for a number of our employees. So we need to find new ways of communicating to make sure that we are one team. And people's habits, they are changing, and also their expectations. And we've seen, as an example, growth of 50% of engagement in social and online channels. So it's really important for the clubs to be more digital and agile as an organization to really build trust with the members. And looking into some insight, it's incredible to see how some clubs are really reinventing what they're trying to do here, and hopefully we will reopen soon as well. But think about it, as a club, how are you looking to change the mindset to bring the members closer to your club? It's really important, as we see it, to really align your club's core values with your community involvement. The more you help in the time of need, it will really bring the members and the guests much closer to your club and the community. For example, we found this article from Bentley RSL. They are ramping up their care for aging World War survivors. and they're delivering care packages every week to them. It's incredible to see the community coming together here. And the PM, he obviously hoping that the clubs will open soon, and we hope that as well. When we're looking at other insights, we look back a couple of months ago, a lot of the conversations on the online and social channels was all about COVID-19. The trend now that we see is that there's more positive engagement and questions sort of coming through around reopening of the clubs, around the feedback from, say, the premier or around the community. The personalization is still key here, especially in this new world, where 84% of customers saying that being treated like a person and not a number is very important to winning their business. And they are also 2 times more likely to view a personalized offer than an unpersonalized offer. And I fully agree with the opposition treasurer when he's saying he can't wait to visit his local club for a refreshing drink and a chicken schnitzel. And yeah, my local club is is Ramsgate, so yeah, I can't wait. But it's not easy to transform. Silo data from membership, food and beverage, POS systems and gaming systems, it creates a real challenge and resulting in disconnected guest experiences and also a lack of automation. So hopefully today we can answer some of these questions. And I hand over to Pauline now and Luke for a Q&A for the next little while. Pauline?
Hi, thanks so much, Daniel, for all those amazing club industry insights. I'm very excited for everyone to hear from our guest today, one of my most favorite client, Luke Simmons, CEO of Nords Group. Thanks for being with us today, Luke. How are you doing?
Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you very well.
Thank you. Yeah, so my wife's going a bit batty, but our 17-month-old is running right, and I'm just loving the extra time with him. So it's certainly been a very mentally challenging period for a lot of our people since we started, I guess, bracing for impact, preparing for what was going to be quite a surreal, potentially closure of our clubs, and that process of informing our employees and right-sizing the business and being ready for that challenge ahead was certainly one that was very emotional for a lot of our staff.
Well, I'm glad you were able to find the best silver lining, the quality time with your newborn. And I certainly agree, it has been very challenging for all of us. And I said the exact same words to my board, that we need to brace for impact and think of the survival of the business. So I fully empathize as a business owner myself. But I'd like to understand better, how do you think COVID-19 has impacted your industry?
Yeah, I think from the broader industry point of view, it's somewhat certainly decimated a lot of the livelihoods in the immediate term, as many just struggle to understand what this means and how to rebuild. I think that'll be for some time. However, I do think certainly we are a very resilient industry, been around for centuries in one form or other, so we will continue to adapt. I know for us, it was from the early beginning, it was one foot in survival mode and the other somewhat sort of working through with our stakeholders, banking partners, suppliers, understanding what does the next step in front look like, and then I guess on the reopen strategy as to what we shut down needs to have the capability of starting back up. And I know that the revenue rug being ripped out from underneath us was a very difficult proposition. But I guess in that time we've been very surprised as to how quickly things did unfold. Definitely put the spotlight on how vulnerable the hospitality industry is in terms of these major shocks that may present over time, but the magnitude of this one was just so surreal, and I guess where we were early on starting to talk about 6-month closures, I think we're going to see certainly continued changing consumer behaviours. Some of that discretionary spend, the jobless rate is going to remain high. There's a financial buffer that people had an idea of That will be different in the future. I think people's cash runway is going to need to be a little longer, whether you've got credit card debt or you've got home loan or rent to pay. There's going to be certainly a buffer that people look to have, far different than what they may have only a few short months ago. I think our food margins are going to be decimated, higher cost for consumables, some of those more aggressive avenues for consumer engagement, maybe just a reset on how we remain relevant to our community, and that social connectedness is going to continue to be ever more important. And I guess that communication with our community and making sure that as we try to reduce isolation and celebrate what clubs are there for, that focus on mental health will be an opportunity.
Oh, I love what you said, that you really stay connected in terms of your community and members. And I love also what you said, that you're a very resilient industry and you've been around for centuries. So can you share with us what you have been busy with during the lockdown?
Yeah,
during the shutdown. Sorry.
Yeah, I think firstly we started, certainly the main focus was around our people, but also business continuity as to what we needed to do as we started to see a reduction in footfall. The concern around COVID was presenting what we needed to do in terms of communicating to our staff and our members that we were doing stuff, we were preparing, we were doing extra cleaning, we were certainly not ignorant of the terrible virus that was starting to play out. We needed to make sure that we were then right-sizing the business and our staff structures. We're going to underpin the operations with reductions in revenue that could continue to fall. So that 1 foot in survival mode of working through each of our relationships with stakeholders was so very important. Prior to even then the closure happened so quickly that obviously a lot of those relationship discussions and so on, and deferment of payments and all that sort of happened a little bit for us as we're all in this together. I guess that phrase that's coined at the moment. So the final integration of Salesforce was a key priority for us to continue with. We had a number of APIs that were still just in the final throes, I guess, of coming together, and we spoke to our partners to ramp that up and make sure that Marketing Cloud was going to be a strong component of our armory moving forward. So through closure, we've tried various engagements, whether the online badge draw or trivia. We've started doing welfare phone calls, email correspondence, of course. Our part-owned Clubco business, wholesale business, pivoted within a week to go to Clubco Direct for ordering online for our members. Dashboard prep and some of the other tools that we're going to need on the road out around COVID policy and some of those risk management documentations that we're going to probably come from a little back of house to be a bit more forward facing front of house as to this is what we do to manage the health and welfare of our staff and our customers, etc. And I guess treating our clubs like they're greenfield sites so that we've got the chance to right the wrongs of clubs gone past. And the key element I mentioned earlier of our staff, just making sure they were well aware, transparently what we were doing and what it meant for them, what outsourced placements could be available, how do we actually get them on JobKeeper or JobSeeker. We've got 185 out of 360 staff that are eligible, so there's a lot that are still not able to claim JobKeeper, and trying to make sure that they know their avenues available, whether it's super or visa restrictions and challenges that they have. So that then sort of turns us to also then the member experience and how do we focus on them remaining engaged with us and not just getting a hard sell on the road out as we reopen, so that ethos surrounding, connecting our community and what does that mean really whilst we're closed as much as when we reopen. So that element of what we stand for in our clubs and our community is going to continue to be front of mind as we plan this reopen.
You mentioned before that you have a concert like during this time. Can you talk to me more about that?
Yeah, we've got the ISO concert. Big shout out to Rob Lopez and Abe Eden for putting this together. It's planned for this Saturday night, 7:30 p.m. through facebook.com North Camaray. And it's some great entertainers and an opportunity for anyone, wherever they are around the country, to dial in. So we're certainly keen to see how that goes, and that might be a further avenue of continued engagement moving forward.
That's really amazing, and I'm sure that I wish you all the best in that concert. I'm sure your members will really appreciate that. But Luke, what do you think the clubs industry will go back to, and how will this change the behavior of your members? You mentioned something about that. There will really be some changes. Can you walk us through that?
Yeah, I think there's certainly a bit of a reset happening in many areas, whether it's the NRL competition to AFL, whatever it might be in each industry and business, that is, I guess, looking at what does the new normal look like. And for us, I think just trying to understand that as to what we left on the way into closure to what becomes the road out, and back to basics, I think, in some respect to begin with. I think good food and beverage, well priced, somewhat the small bar approach. We're no doubt going to have restrictions in place as we start to sort of try and transition out of a very strict closure period, and that this virus will need to be in somewhat suppressed mode, and we've got to live with it. So it'll be interesting to see if the community transmission numbers stay really low. Then sometimes they're short memories and we'll return to old habits quite quickly. When we looked at the GFC, there was a lot of lessons learned at the time, but we just went through a royal commission. So there's, I think, the unique opportunity to draw on heightened sense of community. People care more about each other at the moment, but also quite intolerant of those that are not following rules. So that's going to be challenging. I think more amalgamations, definitely. Unfortunately, there's going to be a number of clubs that just don't have the capability of reopening without some form of partnership, and amalgamations will be on the agenda for a long period of time as clubs experience higher levels of debt, and some of those developments get pushed further and further out. So I mentioned earlier righting the wrongs of clubs gone past, and some of those benefits that may have crept in over time that don't add any value to the bottom line or really strengthen that community relationship will be under the microscope. And for us, really, taking the opportunity to restructure our loyalty program, putting in value adds, and making sure that budget reflects a real measured return. So who knows, we might even have a cheaper Salesforce subscription.
I'll leave that conversation between you and Daniel. So how have you been preparing for this new world we now call the novel economy?
Yeah, I think really, as I mentioned, we're just trying to make sure that we've got the tools in our armory to be really strong on the way out. So Salesforce is a key component, both internally, what we commenced a number of years ago with the Sage people on the Salesforce platform for our staff. That's been a great avenue through this period of people having access to information and the ability for us to communicate quite quickly. And I guess that journey started some time back, which was always out of the people culture focus, but then trying now to make sure that we have just the same strength around our member engagement, and making sure, with our super excited Rob Lopez in Northern Marketing Communications Manager, that he's got this great beast of Salesforce as a tool that's now available to execute multiple measurable strategies. So, we see right now online activity is certainly up. Customers are building digital footprints, so advertising studio and social studio, as to how we're really personalising those engagements moving forward. And we're not just, sending out various things that are irrelevant to some or on an irrelevant platform or communication means. So making sure we really understand what each individual needs, not only in terms of content, but how they want to receive that, and how do we actually get that conversation a little bit more two-way. So whether it's the use of email surveys or some of those things around journey builder that really excite us, and that critical way forward with an engaged strategy that has communication around that design thinking approach, and how do we, I guess, see our staff and member engagement continue for some time with I guess meaningful return, and not just that hard sell. So we've had that ability, I guess, in the planning stage to look at what is that going to need to require in terms of the database integrations and things like that. So we've had a fair bit of work that's needed to be done still behind the scenes before we can actually deploy some of that. And I think when we now go back into the novel economy, and as I mentioned, right-sizing the business and making sure that we've got targeted member measurable spends, then that's going to be so essential to know that we're communicating to a 25 or 35, you like this, and the 65 plus might be something about what they could do within terms of engagement, not only from us, but other businesses or services within our community. So I guess moving away from it all just being about us and being strongly about what does that member need, and sometimes that won't necessarily just be a product that's or a good or service that's from us. It's about being there and I guess connecting our community on many fronts. So really looking forward, I guess, to enhancing that digital connection and reducing friction throughout the venue, and the use of technology will continue to be really, really key part of our strategy moving forward.
Yeah, it's really important what you touched on there, that now more than ever we need to be sympathetic to our members and not just communicating to them in any way or form that we want because we want to promote our services or products. I hope our partnership has been helpful during this time. Are you able to share with us how Salesforce Marketing Cloud is helping you prepare and enrich your relationship at this time?
Yeah, I think, and certainly from our partnership, as you helped really that journey mapping, that building that, I guess, structure around how we're going to use Salesforce. Salesforce is an incredible tool with so many different aspects to it, and many that we just won't have the ability to bite off, I guess, at this moment. So we are using Marketing Cloud. We'll definitely be using a lot of the Advertising Studio and Social Studio connections so that we can make sure that we really understand what friction points exist also in that journey of customers from when they start thinking about, well, maybe not even thinking about us, but when they're on the couch and they're starting to think about various aspects of either socialization or food, beverage, engagement, etc. That the journey starts there, and that is from where we have people understanding how they're going to get to our clubs, and then the process that when they arrive in venue, what steps do they take? Is there other sort of apps and processes that are then invoked through that relationship, that we understand what that person wants when they enter our venue. And I think from our perspective, the use of Salesforce really drives a stronger engagement, but really helps with automation, helps with real-time understanding as to what those members want, and then gives us the ability to run off that and start to have those more meaningful engagements on a large mass that we just never had access before. So I think we're only at the beginning phase of this. We'll certainly look to draw off other industries and work with partners like yourself to understand how do we actually meet those more meaningful engagements through personalised channel communication, making sure that we aren't just sending out notifications and information, etc., that is going to just fall on deaf ears, so to speak. So we're really excited about that and being able to utilise this even further into the future.
Well, thank you so much, Luke, for sharing your knowledge and your passion with us so generously today. To all of our attendees, if you guys have questions for Luke, please do not hesitate to send it via the message. I think, Luke, you're really doing amazing things to welcome back your members and give them the connected experience. And thank you so much, and good luck with your concert on Saturday. So
thank you very much.
That's Luke Simmons, guys, CEO of Nords Group. Right now, I'm so thrilled to introduce you to our next speaker. He's about to blow your minds. He will walk us through the art of the possible in providing a connected members journey. I hand you over to the amazing Martin Andrew.
Thanks, Pauline. Thanks, Luke and Daniel. I'm just going to present my screen for you. Won't be 1 second. So as Paul indicated, I'm going to run you through a future member experience and how we can reimagine how we engage with our customers post the isolation they're experiencing at the moment. So I'm going to do that through the lens of a persona. The persona today that I'm going to be walking through is Rachel Morris. She's 28 years old, a local to the club, but she isn't actually a member of the club yet. She hasn't signed up. So we'll walk through that process with her. As with many people today, she's doing a lot of research on Facebook, spending a lot of time catching up with friends where she can. She's really looking forward to being able to catch up in person and looking forward to getting to live events and really getting back in with her social circle. Now, she comes across the club because she's targeted with a Facebook lookalike audience, and this is based on the fact that she meets similar criteria to a lot of our club members. So the ad that she's seeing is targeted from the club based on that lookalike profile. Rachel's really interested, as I said, she's really into live music and she wants to experience what that has to offer at the club, and she invites her friends to go and see the show. Her first interaction with the club is through the website. She browses the website, looking at all the different events information, seeing what is on offer and what's relevant, and she organizes that meeting with her friends. Upon arriving with the club, you'd be very familiar today. As a guest, she would sign in as a temporary member. She'd get that little receipt, having verified her ID. But this is our first interaction with Rachel and knowing who she is. We're able to catch some very basic information through the guest membership system. But we're also able to offer her an experience like a member by getting her to SMS Clubs New South Wales to this phone number to enter the daily raffle, similar to that of a membership raffle. If you feel like doing it later on, please do text Clubs New South Wales to this phone number 0428 030 701 and you'll experience that for yourself. But I can show you what it looks like now. She SMSs in and she's asked what sort of raffle does she want to enter. They actually have 2 raffles at the moment, the meat raffle, or pretty early, but the Christmas one. How many tickets would she like? 3 tickets. And finally, we need your email address so we can email you the receipt. She happily provides that. It is issued with 3 ticket numbers. All of this is done via SMS on her mobile phone, a channel that she's very familiar with and a lot of members would be able to use. Now, while she's sitting at the club, she actually receives the email confirmation, again with her ticket numbers, same as the SMS, also with a barcode that she can scan at the point of sale if she happens to be that lucky winner of today's daily raffle. So far, Rachel's having a great experience enjoying that concert and hopefully winning her raffle. Now, let's fast forward a little bit. Rachel's now left the club, but she's browsing Facebook again in another day, and she sees another ad for the club. This time she's being targeted via an inclusion audience. This is based on people who have been guests at the club, and we're looking to offer them membership and the value that membership has around the different facilities, the benefits, the loyalty, and all the different things that might interest her. Now, Rachel enjoyed the experience and she likes the benefits of being a member, so she decides to sign up. She can do this online through the application form. And this is securely sent through to Salesforce and then synchronized with your membership systems, waiting for her to become financial by attending the club, citing her identification, and paying her membership dues. Now, this is a legal requirement, but we're trying to streamline it to make it easier for her to sign up online and activate that membership, reducing the friction for her to sign up and making it easier for your teams to manage that membership application and renewal process. As part of that membership journey, Rachel receives an email notification. Just bear with me for 1 second. My home Wi-Fi is just dropping out. Won't be 1 second. Pauline, sorry, I'm just gonna have to drop off for 1 second to reshare my screen because it's not working. Won't be a second.
Don't forget to send your questions, guys, and we'll do our best to answer them.
A short intermission.
Are you gonna sing for the audience, Robin?
No, if I had a better voice. Actually, you've got a good singing voice, Pauline.
Maybe Luke can sing for us.
No, I'll probably just add in there that certainly from this point of view, it's obviously there's a lot of people that you can bring back into the business through JobKeeper now, and the journey mapping, as we've worked through with you guys, so importantly, is about having that access to digital use of membership online. Any kind of touch point that has had a manual process in venue is now capable of moving to digital platforms, etc. Over to you, Martin.
Yeah, thanks, Luke, for that. Apologies, some technical difficulties at my home network on the Wi-Fi, but we're back online. So let's rejoin Rachel. She's just signed up as a member, and this is where we can really engage with her through an onboarding experience. As part of that, she receives an email to verify her information and provide her preferences and additional information about her. This allows the club to really make sure that when we're communicating with her, we can provide her the personalized experience and only provide information to her that she might find relevant. A week's passed and she hasn't visited the club. We're going to send a second email as part of this automated journey to remind her of the offerings that the club has, the health club, the live shows, the bistro. And this is dynamic content based on her interests and maybe what she's visited or hasn't visited the club. So we're not informing her of things she already knows about, but making sure she knows that the breadth of offerings from the club. Finally, it's nearly been a month past and she hasn't revisited the club again. So in the third and final email in this welcome series, the dynamic content is going to give her an offer of 20% off on her bistro out of the next visit. Ultimately, we want her to have a dining experience, but also a secondary call to action for her to download the membership app. Now, this is a digital membership app similar to the driver's licenses in New South Wales. The idea is really to make it easy for her to sign in at the club when she arrives and also provide us with another channel of communication where we can send her timely messages. Lucky, all this onboarding information has really reminded Rachel why she signed up, and she's interested to go to the club again. She's got her membership app. She can see the status of her loyalty points. She can start to look at what those events are that are coming up. And here she sees that Shannon Knowles coming to the club. She really likes this, wants to add it to her favorites and share it with her friends. And while she does this, she actually gets a notification to advise her that she's just proceeded to the next loyalty membership. Great opportunity for her to go and reap those benefits at her next visit. This is a completely different experience for Rachel now. When she arrives at the club, no more printed out receipts for the guest. And as she walks through the lobby, she actually gets a push notification on her mobile phone to say, head on over to the bistro for that 10% off your post-show meal. Really driving to remind her that she can enjoy a meal whilst enjoying that experience with the event. And hopefully she really enjoys that concert. Now, this is what the experience looks like in the hands of Rachel and what her member experience is. And before I finish up, I just want to really quickly show you what it looks like for your teams in building and delivering these member experiences. So here I'm just going to jump into your marketing team's persona. I'm jumping into part of the marketing cloud called Journey Builder that Luke alluded to earlier. And this is my welcome series, my onboarding journey. I've got a goal that I'm tracking to have most of my members complete their profile, so I can actually see how my goal is performing and how this journey is assisting my business. I can see how the audience, the new signups, people who have just become members, are being put onto this onboarding journey. And I can see the different stages of communication, from the first email, the engagement, whether they've opened, clicked on that email. If it's also bounced, maybe I can switch channels. All the way through to the third engagement and driving that goal. Now, this is a running journey that Rachel's gone through, and I can see I'm overachieving my goal of 89% here, well above that 66%. But likewise on the onboarding, I could use Journey Builder to help me with my renewals. When my club memberships come up for renewal at the end of that 12 months, 3 months, 5 year, whatever they've selected on their membership, I can have them automatically enter based on that data available to me from Salesforce into the renewal journey. I can send them that email. If they haven't opened the email, I'm going to switch channel and switch to SMS, and I've got multiple channels available to me. If email is the channel that Rachel prefers to engage with, I can continue on that conversation, but I might want to include an advertising program with that to drive 22% more likely to engage between that Facebook ad and that email, combining those two channels. And by dragging and dropping the different components of the journey on, all I need to do is provide some content now to the actual emails themselves and activate that journey to have a membership renewals journey live for my team. Taking away the hassle of onboarding communications and renewal communications for those frequent events for all of my club members. And finally, switching gears, I just want to talk about social, which we alluded to earlier, and definitely in this time where we're engaging with our customers online. And Luke, I look forward to that concert on Saturday night. I think that's something I'll definitely look to join in on. We can see through Social Studio as part of the Marketing Cloud what is being said around the club at the moment. The volume of posts that mention our club or the keywords that we've highlighted, a feed across all the different channels, whether that be Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all the different social media channels we're using. Rather than having to do this natively on each platform, we can do it in one interface. We can therefore see what's being mentioned around the club. We can see that the main keywords are updates, checks, reopen. Customers are interested in what's happening when the clubs are going to reopen. We can start to see where these conversations are happening and what sentiment is being presented by these different communications. Here it's predominantly positive. We might want to investigate any negative sentiment to find out if this is a response we need to get out to our members. We can see a spike in positive sentiment. Is this around the concert that we've published for this weekend? And there's a lot of around it and conversation. And that's where I'll really take you to the final screen.
Madam, we're losing your audio.
Yeah, it's cutting in and out.
Public display. I can then look to provide a status or assign this to other people inside my team to really make sure that I'm responding to these customers in the best possible way and providing the best experience. So with that, I'll hand back to Pauline and Daniel to just wrap it up and provide any more information. But if you have any questions, please do ask in the chat channel.
Thank you, Martin. Can you hear me now, everyone?
Yes, we can.
Dan.
Great. I actually had we both have a bit of internet issues, so I'm dialing in now, which is probably easier that way. Let me just share my screen again. So it's just loading up here. Okay, great. So you should be able to see this right now. Quite slow here. Okay, great. As Martin mentioned, but also especially Luke, the shift to digital is more important than ever to really personalize that engagement for the members, for the guests, and especially then looking at the channel that they spend time on to really engage with them there, to build that loyalty and trust. Some of the feedback that we hear in the industry is some clubs are really doubling down on this. And this is the time to not sit back and waiting for the clubs to open up. It's really a time to be proactive, to try and prepare as much as possible to open up, and then hopefully be ahead of the industry when that happens. Think about how your club are keeping members up to date around the safety message and what they are thinking about your brand and how that's related to the community and what the plan is for them welcome them back. This world will not go away post-COVID. You know, it's here to stay, but it's important to look into how you can adapt to have the best outcome. And post-COVID, what will the profile of the club member look like and the club experience? It will change a lot. However, technology can really help you here. This overview just explains the foundation of the guest, member, or renewal experience that you may have, and the systems that you have in place. Most clubs will have these systems in place already, with gaming, point of sale, a gym, etc. And this then takes you through from sign up, from the first interaction to the repeat visits and the entire life cycle, and be able to track and understand those key touch points for the member. And then use artificial intelligence to really automate these actionable insights. And we're making sure that we are here to support you through this, to hopefully reach those outcomes that are set. Let me hand over to Pauline for hopefully some questions.
Yes,
come through from the audience.
So Martin, I think these questions are for you, from Mark Jensen. The question is, which APIs or bots are you using to generate the raffle via SMS? I'm sorry, I think that's for Luke. Which APIs or bots are you using to generate the raffle via SMS?
Yeah, so Pauline, I can answer that. That's not needing to use any additional APIs. This is all just being presented and displayed with inside the Marketing Cloud. So we have the capability to do inbound and outbound SMS, and we can have the logic with inside that. We can feed data in from the Salesforce CRM, as well as if we need to pull in data from external APIs if necessary. But that was purely being done with inside Marketing Cloud.
All right, thank you for that. Another one for Mark Jensen. What loyalty platform does Clubs NSW use? What loyalty platform does Clubs NSW use? Do you know the answer?
So
really,
may
this
have to,
solution. Yeah, I can answer that very briefly, Pauline, if you want. This is really, the loyalty is part of the membership and your POS system. So each club generally has their different membership system from a variety of different ones within inside the industry, same with the point of sale. And we would utilize that loyalty program with inside your existing offering and extend that out through your marketing communications and how you engage with them through Salesforce.
All right, thank you for those questions, Mark Jensen. For the last question, for the Facebook concert, I'm pretty sure this is for Luke now. How did you get around the copyright restrictions?
Yeah. Just unmute. So we worked with Abe Zeden, who's generally our broker for entertainers and relationships in that respect. So we've worked closely with Zoom and each of the entertainers to make sure that we've covered off on any of those aspects, and then be able to integrate with Facebook in terms of the notification and things like that out there.
Right, thank you for that question, Tracy Russell. We still have 1 minute, guys, so if you have any questions for both Luke, myself, Daniel, and Martin, please don't hesitate to send them.
I'll just add in on further to that the system question, which is related, I guess, to Clubs of South Wales, but in terms of our club experience, we run eBet across the 4 sites, and we have Jensen in terms of our point of sale, links in our fitness, and we're looking at other integrated partners in terms of what we might remain agnostic with in terms of apps and things like that. But Circle Scan, when people sign in, pre-Arbor from a functions point of view, and we have been in the past using different platforms, but moving to more an integrated one company approach is certainly the intended approach.
Right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Luke, for your insight today. Thank you, Pauline. Thank you, Martin. And thank you, everyone, for attending today. I'm sure there's a few more questions there, and we will come back to you with answers on these. We will also send you a follow-up recording and the highlights from today. I know we were cutting in and out on some of the sections in the presentation, so hopefully I can come back to you also to clarify some of that.
And we will run a series here. So we come back to you with the future webinars in this series today, and how you can then try to improve your club experience and the member experience based on that. And we are here to answer any questions that you have. You got some details on the screen there. Send me an email or give me a call. And yeah, hopefully everyone stays safe and have a great afternoon. And we see you next time. Thank you so much for today.